Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to me to be here. I know that's very difficult for you to be here after lunch, and you're still have some dizziness, but I try to make it a little bit interesting, if I may. Thank you for the invitation. I'm honored to be here. I have only 153 charts to present in 40 minutes, so I think that we'll manage it. Well, our objectives. You know, it's very difficult to try to pass to you 500 years of history, because since the Brazil was discovered in 1500, we are already planting sugarcane and making ethanol, actually to drink, not to fuel. So I'm trying to give you some information about understand ethanol economic environment today, the past, and the future, some futurologics. Know how sugarcane works. It's very interesting because it's something that you heard about it, but you never know how it works. Evaluate the recent milestones of the ethanol program. Recent is about 40 years. For us, it's a recent one. And always try to make the right questions. So, the agenda. Milestone of ethanol, basics about sugarcane ethanol, comparison between ethanol and gasoline, feasibility of ethanol biofuel, future of the biofeedstock, end of oil era. It's an interesting way to think about it. As I said, futurology, and then we have question answers, so I still have 30 minutes to present you 152 shots. So let's see it. That's the milestones. That's part of it. You know, Brazil is nowadays using 50% of the liquid fuel as ethanol. That means that we are renewable. It is not the biggest producer in the world, but is the biggest renewable country using renewables as a fuel. It begins in the 70s. I don't know that, I think that only 3 people here was born later than this. 74, we have oil crisis. The oil crisis, Brazil is too dependent. We are running old-fashioned cars on gasoline. You know, Brazil is not very much keen of doing good politics, so we are importing oil from the Arabs, and since we have no money, we have to lend from somebody, so we lend money from the Arabs, and we buy their oil and use their money to buy their oil, and so on and so forth. And that's the way Brazil has the huge foreign debt. I don't know if it was in the world, but it was one record that we hold for many years. So some clever guy said, look, we have huge land, we have ethanol. Why don't we try to make some ethanol? You know, remember that guy Ford? Yes, the Ford T was running on ethanol. And why shouldn't we try it again? So some people from the military make a group. They join the good engineers from ITA. It's a technical institution of aerospace in São Paulo. And then they put the program on track. So in the 70s, they launched the program, and they developed the engine car, the ethanol engine to run on ethanol. It was a successful engineering program. During the 80s, we have a second oil crisis. So it was pushed the program even further. But that was one big problem. In the 80s, it's very interesting because either you run on gasoline or you run on ethanol. At that time, it was one or the other. Ethanol has a cycle production. In the summer, you don't harvest sugarcane, so you don't have ethanol in the summer. How can you have a car to be in your garage for 2 months. It doesn't make sense. That was one of the biggest problems at that time. The motto at that time was, ethanol car, you're going to have one. But people were making jokes saying, ethanol car, you're going to push one. But that's the reality. I lived that. I lived that. And I push my car. Because when you don't have ethanol, but you can go to the drugstore, but it's much more expensive. You put this to clean your it's not good. So, during the 90s, it's interesting because the ethanol programs were almost dead. And they start using the ethanol because they use the mill owner to foster the program. And afterwards they say, look, you're killing my program, do something. And the government make the blend. All the gasoline in Brazil has now 25% of ethanol. All of it. So they made this blend mandate and they almost killed the program for ethanol cars during the 90s. So the world was suffering there. Phoenix was trying to recover. And in 2003, the flex fuel car was launched. That was the solution of this problem. It was a very nice and clever solution. Flex fuel car, so if you don't have ethanol, you can run on gasoline. Either way, 60, 40%, 10, 90, you choose. We have a huge ethanol booming. We are building 2 or 3 new sugar mills every month during this period. It was very nice. For the company I'm working for now, it was very nice. But you know what happened in 2008. So we have the liquidity crisis, we have the ethanol crisis, we have all kinds of crises, political crisis, as we always have in Brazil. And we are now in this. There was a booming, now is the blowing. We are killing again the ethanol program. That's the reality. But I believe that there is a solution in the near future. You see, I'm predicting here in 2016 you have the ethanol Phoenix program. That means that they're going to come back. I truly believe that. I'm giving you some information. Try to give you some information of, if I manage it. Yes, I did it. Good. Some information about sugar mills program in Brazil. This is old numbers, but it's about the same because since we are limited and stopped by the time, it's a $25–30 billion yearly income in this program. We had 438, now we have 400 and reducing. Since I said you're killing the program, they shut down the plants. We have around 70,000 growers. About 1 million people working directly. And that's interesting. Our energy matrix is almost 20% of this renewable. And the fuel is 50%. And this is really this is a reality. We avoid CO2, greenhouse emissions deeply. But now, unfortunately, you cannot have everything. We have sun, we have land, we have water, but we have some politics that it's amazing. Let's see this. Interesting, just to let you know something about, if it's not interesting, just let me know. I can just make it faster. The sugarcane is a very clever grass. It's a grass. It has 1/3 of juice, 1/3 of bagasse after you crush it, and 1/3 of straw. Normally you use only 1/3 of it. Nowadays we're using 1/3 of the bagasse to produce energy, burning it in high pressure boilers. And now we're trying to make some use of the last third. This is the division of the energy. for those who has also those questions, why you are taking out the rainforest and plant it's not possible. You cannot make a sugarcane plantation in the rainforest. The sugarcane doesn't grow there. Anyway, here is the rainforest, Amazon. All the sugar mills are concentrated here. It's about 1,500, 1,800 miles away. And this area is going to be dead in the near future, but anyway, it's far away. So there is no, don't worry, the ethanol is not killing any rainforest. The new area is pushing, is the same map, but it's like it's night here. The new area is going towards the new frontier, towards Paraguay. Is the new region that we still have some big areas, not so much competition. That's going to happen here. So the cattle is going up, and maybe the soybean is going up. It's a matter of competition. So, for those who think that we are using too much land, from the 100% of the land in Brazil, 60% are rainforest and other forests, yeah? 60%. That means that we are living on the other 40%. On the other 40%, cropland is only 20. From this 20, for ethanol is using 1.5%. Biggest part is pasture. We can double it. We can double the ethanol program without making any scratch. So, this is the pro-ethanol, the pro-alcohol program, the military program, and the evolution of the volume. You can see here the development. It's amazing. It's really a huge program that has a good development by the time. It started in 75, and we are now here, growing up. This is a typical mill, ethanol tanks. The site is here, it's about 14 hectares. It's like a corn distillery. You have a place where you crush the sugarcane, separate the juice, and make the distillery. I'm not going through all this. It's interesting. We can put both fuels here. This is blah, blah, blah. And you go there, you see ethanol in the tanks. When it was less expensive. Flex fuel cars. This is interesting. Is the flex fuel cars volume nowadays? 50% of the fleet in Brazil are flex fuel cars, and 85% of the new cars sold in Brazil are flex fuel cars. It's no way back. It doesn't make sense to sell only gasoline. Since the price is about the same. This is the problem during the 2008, 2009 problem, when you have the gasoline and ethanol volume. See here, the gasoline was stopped, and ethanol was booming, and now it crashed. That's the volume of gasoline and ethanol in the late years because of the control of the gasoline price. Number of flex fuel cars increasing. We have a motorcycle running by ethanol. And also in many things used to run crop planes. They use ethanol. The name is Ipanema. It's 100% ethanol. Second generation and other biochemical coming from ethanol. We still have the bottle of Coca-Cola now. It's being produced with ethanol, plastic from ethanol. One much interesting thing is about the energy. As I mentioned before, now we are producing energy from bagasse. 15 years ago, bagasse was a problem, environmental problem, because if you crush it, and it was residue, you could not do anything. So the sugar mills are inefficient on the energy side because they have too much bagasse to burn, and why not to sell? As I said, the politicians in Brazil are not very clever. They're improving. But it was prohibited to generate energy and sell to the grid. It was prohibited. So you have a mountain of bagasse, and you need to burn it. So you need the less efficient boiler in the world, because you have to burn it. Otherwise, you're going to have a Everest mountain in the end of the harvest. And 400 mills, 200 is still the old-fashioned way. They're still just burning because they don't want the bagasse. So, but it's a huge development. We are producing right now the same volume as the Itaipu. Itaipu is a hydro electricity production. And we are producing as much as that hydro production in bagasse. And you have the potential to triple it. That means we still have 2 times the Itaipu in energy to be produced. But the question is why you are not doing that? The same as before. Let's see some information, mandates. I'm going back to my presentation. Okay, as I said, now it's 110 left. I try to make it well. Not that one.
Go ahead, I can find it for you.
Should be here. It's that here. Yeah. I'm getting old. So these are the sugar mill figures. One sugar mill produces 5 million tons of sugarcane per year. It's a lot. They have about, a unit has about 3,000 employees. They work 24/7, 260 days. They have more than 800 vehicles. It's an army. Every unit is an army. Every year spend more than $40 million on maintenance. $40 million. 10,000 hectares are planting every year, producing 300 million liters of ethanol and 200,000 tons of sugar. These are huge numbers. These are huge numbers, and this is the basics of the economy of the renewables now in Brazil. As I said before, sugarcane, you have 2 types of cuts. You have a machine cut, you still have hand cut. All those pictures of people cutting, yes, still are. But it's decreasing because now we have to reduce it to the minimum as possible until 2017. It's about the same figure. In Brazil in 2011, we were producing 22% of the production of sugar, 45% was the export. What does it mean? That the biggest export of sugar in the world was Brazil, is Brazil. Fortunately, Cuba has some problems during the 80s, so we took their export volume. And then Russia stopped importing from us to make their own sugar, just by coincidence. We are second ethanol producer in the world. You know who is the first. In exports now, it's a big it's a big confusion. You never know if you have to export, to import. It's a currency rate problem, it's a production rate problem. We are expanding year after year, 10% a year, as I said, and now we are just limited. We are decreasing our production level, decreasing. From those 438 mills, 60 shut down in the last 3 years, 60. And I think that in this year, next year, more than 40 is going to shut down too, because of economics. How does it work? As I said, this is the mechanical harvesting, it's increasing. Manual cut is going to reduce. This is the manual cut. Normally when you see this picture you say poor people. But these guys receive more money than more than 50% of the people in the city. It's interesting. It's not easy work anyway. But they're there not because they have nothing to do, because it's a big money. For us it's about 3 minimum salary, average. This could be a book, because it's too much to tell about it. Now you have the mechanical harvesting. So big machines, John Deere, each one costs $400,000. Need 3 people to drive 24 hours a day. Yeah. So this is 5 minutes left. Yeah. I'm trying to speed up. This is the development of the vehicles of flex fuel. You see here, you started with 2 million. We have 20 million now. Ethanol, pure ethanol cars, because of the old program, is reducing, of course, because they're getting old. And the gasoline car is reducing too. It's no way back. We believe that this is going to be our future. I'm speeding up here. Now we have too much cars and less fuel for them. Why this? Sugar and ethanol are correlated. All sugar mills in Brazil that produce ethanol produce sugar. In fact, they start producing sugar in the past. When the ethanol program came, they add some capacity to produce ethanol. So, what happened then? They have a division. They have a division to produce part of it sugar, part of it ethanol. The flexibility is 60, 40, 60, something like that. Either 60% ethanol or 40% sugar, or the other way around. But what happened is that the recent years, the sugar price was much better. So we stopped producing ethanol, we started producing sugar. So less ethanol in the market. Our government was not happy, because remember the old guys that were earning a lot of money during the program? Now they should pay back, but they are not, because economic pays better. So there is a historical 70% ethanol gasoline price ratio. You decided as a consumer what you put in your tank. If this ratio is more valuable for ethanol, you put ethanol. If it's for gasoline, you put for gasoline. It's not an environmental issue. It should be. It doesn't make sense. If you spend $1 more, you save 50 liters of gasoline to be burned. But people in Brazil don't think like that. Unfortunately, they think on their pockets. So, in the end, the economics is the basics. Since 2009, the gasoline has no price adjustment. The gasoline price is steady, and the ethanol cost is increasing year after year, 70% per year. So imagine what is happening to the cost level of ethanol compared to a a competition with the gasoline that is controlled by the government. It's not controlled by the government. It's Petrobras, is the oil company from Brazil, is listed, but they listen to the president. It's not control, it's just listen. And the last 5 years, we have no gasoline price increase. In the last 5 years, we have 7% inflation and the cost of ethanol. What is happening? The cost today, since 2011, I was working in a mill at that time. I said, look, it's crazy. Next year we have to pay to sell ethanol. And this happened. Since we are blocked, because if we could, we would produce 100% sugar. But it's not possible. You have to produce at least 40% ethanol. So mills are losing money, so therefore they are bankrupt. Petrobras case, it's very interesting. We mentioned before. Petrobras, because of the lack of subsidies or fostering from the government to ethanol program, their lack of fuel. And what's happening? The more clever is to help people to plant sugarcane, isn't it? But what is happening? They are buying expensive gasoline and selling to the price of the market. So they are buying gasoline for 3 and selling locally for 2. Makes sense. So you can break both things at the same time, Petrobras and the ethanol producers. We are managing that. It's crazy. Therefore, I believe that this has a short-term life. Either they're going to break everybody, or they have to do something. So I believe that we are going to make something regarding this. Brazil, unfortunately, has no long-term policy. You're always thinking on the next election. You're not thinking on the long run. You're not thinking in 20 years from now. You're not thinking what is the best for the next generation. You just think in the next 3 years, what's going to happen and what can we do to be re-elected? Our current president has a huge bill to pay now because she's doing everything wrong. Everything's wrong. So, despite all those politics, we still have a good renewable metrics. I think that is the best example in the world that use renewables as a source of energy. About 55%, 45% is renewable in Brazil. No other country has the same level of activity. It's amazing. This is an example to follow. So this is going to memorize, so I'm going to ask later. This is just the table of prices. You can check later what I say is right or not. Gasoline prices is steady. The cost is going up. Ethanol, gasoline price comparison. As I said before, it's 70%. It's a mental issue. Again, this is the 70%. This is just statistics. In the end, what is the future? We should have 1 new mill a month just to supply the demand of the new cars. 1 new mill, that one with 5 million tons. Since 2011, we should have built 1 mill a month. Therefore, we have this gap. Therefore, we're importing gasoline and selling local cheaper. Now we are 24 months behind schedule, and in the next 12, we are going to have the same. The demand is still there. The demand is still there. It's a good program. It's viable. It's environmental friendly. It makes sense. Just don't make any stupidity. Since we have 3 in a row, it's very difficult. But I truly believe that this is going to happen. The investments is coming back. the law of economics is going to scream in our government ears. So this is gasoline volume. You see, our refinery are steady. They are 100% capacity utilization, 100% capacity. And these are importing gasoline. And this is the ethanol. Look, this is dramatic. So stupid. Anyway, sugarcane prices, just buying the prices again. This comparison again. Comparison, oil price evolution. You know that oil is not going to be there for the rest of our lives. Ethanol, gasoline, where is it? This is. I'm going straight to this. This is a futurology. It's a very, very interesting chart. All the energy in the past is coming from agro and coal. And the near future, we are going to look back, and the oil phases is going to be some phase. We passed through this. Your grandsons is going to ask, what? Fossil? What is this? And that's something that we did in the past. It's black. Just forget about it. But it's still there. In the long run, it's going to be a dot. Fossil is dead already. It doesn't know yet. So, futurology. Ethanol is going to be additive for gasoline for the world. That's the solution for the program. Flex fuel cars has absolutely no impact in the normal cars. Just all the world has to produce flex fuel cars and use ethanol as additive. If you use additive ethanol, you reduce at least 50 to 60% of the emissions. Biomass residue, we have a cost. All the second generation, all the biochemical companies are not thinking like that. They're thinking that biomass has no price, but it has. Algae, for me, is going to be the best source of HC. 70% of the world is the sea. Makes sense. And nanotech will help. We're still not using these sources. So it's 110 charts left. I think that I passed 5 minutes. I don't know if you have any further question. It's too much information to pass along. Thank you for your time. I hope that you're not sleeping too much now. Just one guy there. Thank you.
Okay, we do have time for questions. As per usual, we will invite the students first to ask questions.
Can you talk a bit about the transportation infrastructure for ethanol? So you said there's 800 trucks per mill. Is it purely by truck that you get it to cities and areas where people are using it?
Yeah, the ethanol, the mill, the sugar mill, is concentrated. Yeah, it's one spot, and you use a radius of around 20, 30 kilometers. It's the economic viable distance where you have to plant the sugarcane. So you split it into groups, 3, 4, 5 fronts. It's like an army. You have 3, 4, 5 fronts using equipment, 24 hours, like a bus, going up and down, carrying the sugarcane. I don't know if you answer the question.
And then once you've produced it, how do you get it to Sao Paulo? Is it a pipeline?
This is the sugarcane production, okay? Sugarcane to the mill. When you produce ethanol, you have the trucks. There is a new line, ethanol duct, 2,000 kilometers away from the harbor, that's connecting the distribution center and the countryside. Right now, just before that, was only trucks. Yeah. It's considering also in the greenhouse emissions. It's payoffs. It's still in the positive side.
So that's a pipeline.
There's a pipeline, but it's not enough. Mm-hmm. You still have to use trucks.
Can you use anaerobic digestion for the bagasse conversion? You said you're burning it. Why do you burn it? Why not digest it?
Economics. Today, it's better, much more efficient to burn it and transform it into energy, heating water and using the steam to spin a turbine, than to use this anaerobic digestion. This is still under study to be efficient. The future you use it, for sure, but you still have to find the balance between the cost of the end product and the process. We're still running this. This answer is going to happen in 5 years. I don't know.
But you get fertilizer, you get heat, besides electricity.
Yes.
When you burn it, all you get is electricity.
But what is the cost of it? If you buy fertilizer for $100 a kilo or a ton, using anaerobic digestion, maybe it costs 120, 300. We don't know. It works, but the cost of it is another question. Yes?
Is the 40%, 60% split, is that mandated? Or is that some kind of like physical constraint?
It's historically. In the beginning, they have sugar. Then they came with the ethanol program. The ethanol program was set. This is the site, how you have to do it. Where I'm working for now, they are just delivering one after the other, 40 just in a row. It's a copy-paste program. When they did it, they asked themselves, how should we treat the volume of feedstock? There should be something in the middle. So this is 60-40, 40-60. There are some 80-20, 20-80. It depends. But it doesn't make sense to have 100-0, 0-100. Otherwise, we're going to have 50% idle all the way. So it makes sense to have a little flexibility so you can use the better price of your feedstock and try to have a little bit more margin. Yes?
It seems like the major barriers to your ethanol sales weren't economic but political. Do you see that as something that would like change with an election perhaps, or is this kind of like a permanent thing that you guys have to work with?
I said, she's a group. No, I'm just kidding, because I was saying just before the meeting that I have to contain my words because because it's a politic thing. Let's say that the president that you have today, doing all this good stuff, is going to be reelected. Yes? It's possible, independent of that, because you still have a long volume of people that prefer to earn their... Do you know they have 6 million people in Brazil receive a money just because they have a family? For free, because they're poor. So it's worth a vote, isn't it? That's what's going to happen. But anyway, if she is reelected, economics will scream. Because otherwise, they're going to break the ethanol program, they're going to break the Petrobras. Petrobras is 1/3. Petrobras is double size of a Colombian oil company, but has now less value in the stock exchange. I believe that economics will speak out. Hopefully. Hopefully. Yes?
Could you speak to the relative substitutability of other feedstocks? So if it's, you're focused on sugarcane, but we've heard in the past some things about jatropha, possibly sunflower or soy or other things. How can they use the same type of equipment if they can?
All right. Right now, the government is fostering the corn ethanol. You see? Makes sense, because you have sugarcane. You're fostering corn ethanol. Doesn't make sense at all. But anyway, the name of the game is hydrocarbon. Yeah? the Jacotra, all the other sources that you mentioned are sources of hydrocarbon. But the best concentration of hydrocarbon in the world per hectare is sugarcane. See, it's a matter of how many carbons can you get in the same area. And the best way until today is the sugarcane. Normally you use other sources in other places. In a dry, very dry area, maybe you have other seeds like sunflower. Maybe in other areas that you have dry and some type of sun, you have Jacotra. But it does depend on geography on one side. But the best place, the best product to have the best volume of hydrocarbon per hectare is still as sugarcane. Therefore, in Brazil, we are focused on that because we have land, we have sun, we have water. Yes, sir.
How much fertilizer do you have to put in the ground to?
Depends. I learned that in my MBA. It's a good answer. Depends. Actually, it depends on the analysis of the soil. There are some areas that the potassium is coming back in the system of ethanol and the vinasse. When you distill it, you produce 10 times more volume of vinasse that is rich of potassium. So you use it back in the plantation. Nitro and phosphor still has to be bought, imported in Brazil and used in the land, but it depends on how rich or how poor your land is. There's a table in agricultural that you have to use it, but I would say that, I don't know if it helps, about 20% of the cost of the plantation is the fertilizers. But it depends on where you're planting. Region of Ribeirão Preto region is very rich, the soil is very rich. And you can use the soil of Ribeirão Preto as a fertilizer or other places. So it depends, not much. The sugarcane is not stressed, doesn't stress the land. Cattle does, and sugarcane recover it. I don't know if for sure I didn't answer your question, but I tried to give some information. Yes, sir. Yes.
Thank you. I'm just curious about what's the profitability of this business producing ethanol from sugar canes? Is how important the international market for this business is?
Good question. Sugar is international market anyway. Sugar. Ethanol is local market, depending on gasoline. Margin of ethanol today, 0. Margin of sugar today, 0. Yeah. Therefore, they are shutting down. The question is the following, that because of the gasoline should be free floating the price, international price, and it would help ethanol. Since ethanol is 0 margin, they're shifting to sugar. And since we are the biggest exporter of sugar in the world, you export more than 50% of the sugar in the world, we just flow the world of sugar and the price dumped also. So it's 0 margin either way. Sugarcane, you cut 5 times, once a year. It's a long-term investment, so you cannot shift it from soybean to sugarcane and back. Therefore, if you suffer 1 year, you still have 4 to go. If you suffer 2 years, you have 3 to go. Now we are suffering 5 years in a row, hoping that next year is going to be better. But therefore, you don't shift, because it's a long-term investment anyway. Otherwise, you would do it, like in other cultures.
Take one last question there, please.
What do you think the likelihood that ethanol will continue to grow as a fuel additive is based on health concerns over particulate matter emissions due to other fuel additives like BTX?
Sorry, I missed some words of the question.
It was
That like currently there are a lot of additives to gasoline, right?
Yeah, it's additive on one side and it's pure on the other side.
Right, as an additive. Do you think the market for ethanol will grow as an additive to gasoline?
Yes,
Because
I believe this is going to be the future.
yeah,
You have hydrous ethanol and anhydrous ethanol. The anhydrous ethanol is used as additive in the gasoline A. Hydrous ethanol is used as pure fuel. I think in the near future we're going to have only one type of fuel. This is a blend of ethanol and gasoline in the flex fuel car. And what is going to be the balance depends on the offer of the ethanol. You're going to blend accordingly to the offer. And it's going to be flex, like the flex fuel cars. That's the future of the fuel as a whole, in Brazil at least, I think. In the other countries, they're going to substitute the I don't know the name of it, it's a very difficult name to speak in English. They're going to take it out and use ethanol.
Yeah.
It's a pure additive.
Very good. Well, let's thank Dario once again.
Thank you. Thank you.